All right, thank you so much. Here, the program this morning on ITV on Independent Television. Well, I told you that we are going to be looking at what is going on in ECOWAS. That's Abuja. Studio is going to be looking at that. And also, I also mentioned that Rivers State political crisis is going to be a focus here on the program today. But we are making preparations for all those segments now so that when we are ready, we'll just get you so that we let you be part of that discussion this morning. Anyway, in order to save time, we are so privileged this morning to have Dr. Samuel Ali. That's the Honorable Commissioner for Health in Edo State. We're going to be talking about Universal Health Coverage Initiative in Nigeria for the next few minutes. Just only yesterday, we saw Mr. President where he was actually putting a launch on the Universal Health Coverage Initiative in the country. Now, as part of the 30 Sustainable Millennium Development Goals that the United Nations has set nations on, we understand that most nations, if not all the nations of the world by the year 2030, the issue of health coverage, universal health coverage, should be a thing of the past. In other words, accessibility to health facilities, to health benefits, health insurance and all that will be a thing of the past. Well, in Nigeria here, we understand that there are so many ways that the federal government is trying to bring health benefits to citizens. Take, for example, the health insurance that former President Olusegun Obasanjo had to initiate. And of course, other presidents came on board and they've been following it. And also, even in Edo State here, Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, has also domesticated it by initiating the health insurance scheme that Edo people are enjoying now. But all this seems not to be enough because we still hear stories of people cannot find access to health facilities. People do not have, some kind of health, insurance policy as they want to benefit from health, schemes as they get along. All right, so Doctor, you're welcome to the program this morning on ITV. You are making your maiden edition on this program with us. So nice to have you, sir. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's look at what do you think is the major challenge when we talk about health coverage, getting across the nook and cranny of our society in Nigeria. What are the major challenges?
Basically, there are many. We can start from financing. Financing is an issue. And then awareness, people's awareness and acceptance of the insurance. Then we looked at the infrastructure itself. I think these three are major.
The three are major. Yeah. Infrastructure, finance, and of course,
public awareness and acceptance.
Okay. All right. So when we say public awareness now, it's kind of a bit one hollow because we've seen series of governments, like what we said that from Olusegun Obasanjo, whereby the health insurance scheme was introduced. So can we still say that people are still not aware that there are health benefits that you can access and you benefit from?
Yes, that's very true. The National Health Insurance that was launched by President Obasanjo is more than 15 years. And we just have 16 million people on that scheme. Again, that shows 16 million from 200 million people. That's like 7% or so, or 8%. That's less than 10%, definitely. 10% of 200 million is 20 million, so we are less than 10% that have enrolled. Again, for 15 years, only less than 10% of people have enrolled. It shows something is fundamentally wrong.
So what do you think is wrong?
If you look at if you look at a model like Rwanda, Rwanda's population is Rwanda has 90% coverage, over 90% coverage of their entire population. And again, when you even calling it down to Edo State has had health insurance in place for everyone who lives here in Edo State, whether you're a citizen of the state or not. So as long as you are a resident, we have close to 5 million citizens or residents of Edo State, population of Edo State. But how many are enrolled in the scheme? 200,000. 200,000. Again, that's just about 4%. So, and when you engage people, even so-called educated, oh, is there something like that? Oh, I didn't know it exists. That's what you hear. That's what. So not. And it was when you move into the rural areas. So you just know that a lot of people are not aware. They don't even know what it means. So that gap exists. We cannot run away from it.
Okay. Now, there's no doubt that it seems that state governments are taking it over from the federal government. Now, we talked about the National Health Insurance Scheme as put together by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And of course, we have also mentioned how the state governor has launched the Edo State Health Insurance Scheme. Now, is it something that maybe the federal government is having a difficult? Then, of course, the state governments now trying to rescue the federal government, or the state government is just trying to do their own. What do you think is happening in this regard?
Well, it's a synergy. Almost, it's not a competition. There's nothing stopping you from having two or more multiple insurance. It happens in the other parts of the world. If you can, I think it's good. You have both national health insurance, you have the state health insurance. That way, you know that you are covered in one way or the other. So it's a synergy, like I said, and it's for the good of the citizens. Yes, if it might be a point where, which is actually the plan, the national insurance become thin out, and then the state fully owns everyone, each component of it. That's fine, and then the health insurance now becomes, the national health insurance now focus more on regulations and providing the much needed direction and all, making policies and all of that we can key into.
Now, a while ago, you said that, because I always like to domesticate it here in Edo State so that the people of Edo State can actually learn and know what is going on. Now, a while ago, you were saying that if you go to the rural settings in Edo State, a lot of people probably don't know that there is a health insurance scheme put together by the state governor. Now, whose fault is it?
That's what I said is a combination of public awareness and acceptance. Let me just give you a practical example. 3 weeks ago, I traveled to Edo North, specifically to my own side, and along with the members of the Edo Health Insurance, and we're trying to enroll people. We were practically begging everyone to enroll. And even when there was a major event that was happening at the Oba's Palace, and we thought, okay, we could use that to bring in people. Well, it was more, people don't just, you keep almost like begging people, preaching, this is it. It goes from more like lack of trust to, oh, what's happening here? Why do they want to enroll me? Why? What's in it for me? So acceptance. When you hear something, you digest it, you want to know, okay, what's my benefit in it? How can this program, most times, we Nigerians, we don't evaluate things like that. We don't wait. We just looked at it, and then we have preconceived idea of what it is. Oh, government is trying to maybe do something funny for us. This can't be true. It's not going to work. We come up with a lot of excuses why that thing will not work or why it is not true. So that's why I said is a combination of lack of knowledge and acceptance. You have to accept something. If you accept it, then you can scrutinize it, you can weigh it, and then take a rational decision. But that's not what happens here. So, the national health insurance has been around for close to more than 15 years, and just have 15 million people. Now, 15 million in which 30% of that are civil servants that the government just forced to enroll. Practically, like, look, so if you have left, if they have had options, they won't join. They won't. So government forced 30% of his own workforce, 30% of the citizens to get enrolled because there is workforce, and say, okay, it's compulsory that you must have this. So one way that we could actually, the law is there. One way in which we could tackle all of this is by making sure health insurance is compulsory, which is what obtains in most countries. They just make it mandatory. It's there now in the new act. It was not there, but we are not enforcing it. We are not implementing it, and that's where the gap is. So until we begin to enforce it, until we begin to make people to enforce it, You know? So I will ask you now, in ITV, how many of you are enrolled into the health insurance?
Well, a lot of us, we've enrolled.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
in the national or the state?
Well, the states, at the point, we are on the states now. Most of us are on the state now. Yeah.
So that's,
but let's talk about affordability now, because we understand that it's a matter of constitution. It's by right, you are supposed to be a benefit of one insurance as far as you're a citizen of a country. Most countries of the world, they have that as part of their constitution. But let's look at affordability now. If the state government is trying to enforce it on the people, can they afford it? I mean, it's not free. Take, for example, the one the Edo state government is, the health insurance scheme. It's not free. You have to pay for it. Now, a situation that you have only a handful of its citizens, not even gainfully employed, don't you think the issue of affordability is a big problem?
Well, let me start by saying I think most times we tend to think health is cheap. Healthcare is not cheap. And that is why you now have to use. So how do you finance something that is not cheap, but which everybody needs? Everybody needs healthcare at one point in his life or the other. You could hardly have seen a man that said, "Oh, I've lived for 80 years, 70 years. I've never been to. I've never needed." No, it's not. Maybe you'll be sick of malaria and all. So healthcare is one thing that everybody needs, and so it's not cheap, isn't it? The equipment, the staffing, and all of that. Now, affordability it's for me. I don't think it's a matter of affordability. I think the first thing is a matter of. No, I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
It's not even a matter of affordability as much as matter of acceptance. Acceptance.
Of what use is it if I accept it and I cannot afford it?
There's government also made provisions for what you call the vulnerable group, which means those who can't afford.
That's only an infinitesimal percent. I mean,
no.
Out of which the unemployed.
You now ask yourself, this vulnerable group, how many of them has actually come forward? How many has been enrolled? Have they taken up the quota that was given to them? No. So what's happening? You don't have to pay. Government will still enroll you. You beg people practically, we are not paying anything. Just come and enroll and prove to us that, yes, you do not have any means to pay this. Now, let's even look at the insurance affordability. Edo State is 18,000 for a whole year. 18,000 naira for a whole year.
I think that's about the lowest now.
Yes, but it gives you basic cover, isn't it? 18,000. Now, yes, bringing out 18,000 might be Herculean tax for some people. But if we really accept this, can the community come forward? Can people come forward? If you decide that, okay, I can spare 18,000 for 5 people, things like that, then we can cover, let's say, people in your own immediate family. Yeah. Do you look around and say, okay, I think I can pay for 2 people, this person can pay for 3 people. We've got it done, isn't it? So, but most times people expect the government to do almost everything, but it's not possible, even in advanced countries. In advanced countries, the way they do theirs is that the tax is high, and from that tax, is channeled into the social needs of everyone. Yeah. But our tax is low, and our tax is low because we also know that the purchasing power or the income is also low. And that's why the premiums are low. You don't find 18,000. I don't know what the equivalent of that. $1 is
1,000
naira. So we are talking of $18. $18 for a year coverage. You don't get that anywhere. So it's in the real term, 18,000 is not affordable. Now, another way is, even someone that can't bring out 18,000, can you do what you call a susu or some kind of, what can you pay per day? Do you get it? Where market women do collections, like every day they can pay 500 and all of that. And before you know, you have paid your 18,000 even within a month. So if you are paying 500 every day, for 30 days, that's 15,000. So in 2 months, the man has paid.
So the problem is more of acceptability.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It's not affordability.
If the first thing in life is when you have benefit of something and you know you need this thing is very important to you, find ways to see how you get it done, isn't it? But yes, I've seen students who get admission they don't have money, but they wrote the exam. They know they are from poor home. They know that their father cannot afford the school fee, but they still go ahead to write the exam. After writing the exam, they now say, okay, I can't afford it. Can I go and meet my uncle? That's someone who actually see the benefit, and such person will be successful. So the first thing is accept it. I know that this thing is for my benefit and I will benefit from it. Then I think all other things will fall into place. So even if we are going to have a segment of people who cannot really afford it, there will be very few. All of us have to know that health insurance is one way to go if we want to actually achieve universal health care coverage.
All right, so that's a good one. Now we're still talking rather with the Honorable Commissioner for Health in Edo State, Dr. Samuel Ali, and we're looking at the Universal Health Coverage Initiative in Nigeria. Yesterday, the President had to put a launch to that initiative, trying to continue from health insurance schemes in the country. The federal government has the National Health Insurance Scheme as part of trying to extend health coverage to Nigerians, and also the Edo State governor is also, we also have the health insurance scheme in Edo State here. So we'll be looking at the challenges now, and for the Honorable Commissioner, it's more of acceptability rather than what some people say that is more of affordability. Perhaps he's telling us from his experience. I mean, he's in the forefront of it all, so he has a better information in that regard. Now, Honorable Commissioner, sir, let's look at the prospects now, because there's no doubt that when we talk about the prospects, of course, we're talking about a healthy nation. So let's take it up from there. The prospect of a universal health coverage, system for a country.
The prospects are good. We just have to keep on doing what we do, maybe on a more grander scale, getting people to be more aware of the benefit. If people know the benefit and know that there are ways that they can actually key into this program, I believe that that will be done. The awareness, I think, is not enough. We're not preaching it. I don't see people go to their village and say you must have health insurance. I don't see people who say it in the churches. I don't see people the way when there is politics, you see the way the whole thing is. If we take this health insurance like that, I can tell you, even if we are not covering 100%, we will get at least 50–60% in 4 years. We can, but we need to do more, and we don't expect government to do just that. Like what you're doing now, that is good. Let's get, all of us have to see the importance, all of us has to accept it, that health insurance is the way to go, and we do all our bit. Don't leave something that is for everyone, don't leave it to a segment or to just one body, the government, and that's what we do. And there's much the government can do.
But are you sure the government is sincere on this? I mean, on the papers this morning, I read whereby the president was actually begging doctors to return back to the country. We've seen the current brain drain of medical professionals, doctors, nurses leaving the country because of in search of greener pasture. Now, the reason why they leave is that they are underpaid. I mean, for a government that really intends to really bring a universal health insurance coverage in total to its people, don't you think the doctors, they have to be paid, pay them more? So is the government sincere on this, doctor?
Government is very sincere for us to launch this health insurance, set it up, running for 4 years, combing all nooks and crannies. We have our offices in all the senatorial zones in the states.
No, we're talking about the foot soldiers now. The doctors.
Wait, I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
The doctors leaving is not basically. It's not because of poor pay. It's not.
Don't you think so?
Not that I think so. I mean, the system. It's not. It is due to the economy. The overall economy, the insecurity, the lack of, just generally the lack of, they just know, the youth generally, they just say that, look, there's nothing for me in this country. That is what is making people to leave. It's not because they feel, oh, I'm poorly paid and all of that. No. Doctors in Nigeria, if we want to use that, doctors in Nigeria are among the highest paid in government sector. That's just the truth. You might say it's not enough, yes, but in relation to others, doctors are one of the best paid in this country. But if we are now comparing it to Europe, then we are not being fair, because we are not spending dollars here.
But it's a global economy now.
Yeah, no, it's a global economy, but
yeah.
if you don't earn as much as other doctors earn, then you can't say, oh, he's poorly paid. You have to use a comparison. To be poorly paid, you have to look at it from comparative to others in the same environment, not in outside that environment. Do you get it? The Jackpot syndrome is just because the economy is bad. What the doctors are earning can no longer feed him and his family. So he has to look for greener pastures outside there. And it's not just doctors that are leaving. Those guys in fintech are
other
leaving.
health professionals,
not just health professionals. That's what I'm saying. In other fields,
but
engineers, especially in fintech, they are leaving.
But they are more in the health sector.
The health sector is more pronounced. Like I said, health is what everybody needs. So when you go to a hospital that you know, oh, there used to be 4 doctors here, and you meet 1 or 2, then you say, what's happening? This doctor has left, or the economy is too harsh on him, and all of that. So it's more visible, but it's in all sectors. I know of a bank whose IT department almost crumbled because almost all their IT people have left.
Now, there was a statistics that I was privileged to see very recently, whereby the number of doctors that have left Nigeria. Edo State doctors seem to be on the high side. It keeps on increasing. Edo State indigents that are doctors leaving the state, leaving the country almost on a daily basis. Now, give us an insight as the Honorable Commissioner for Health now. What is the state government doing in this regard to make sure that these young body-abled men that can actually actualize the universal health coverage for Edo citizens are encouraged to stay back? What is the state government doing?
First, I don't agree with your statistics. I don't know where you get that statistics from.
No, it's on the public domain.
I think it's everywhere. Recently, there's a report in one of these leading online reporters that one hospital in Lagos, I don't want to call name, closed down 1 ward or 5 wards, consisting of how many beds?
Because of doctors?
Yes, because the doctors, almost all the doctors, and all of that, almost all the doctors in that unit have left, and including the nurses. So they couldn't function.
Even
so that is going on.
I can mention 5 doctors that have left UBTH in less than 5 months. Even in your specialist, I can mention at least 3 doctors that have left in less than 2 months.
There's a jackpot syndrome that is going on. But what I'm saying is that don't make it look as if it is only in Edo State that is happening. It's happening all over the country. The fact that you are here, you feel, oh, it makes it look as if it's only here. No, it's not only here. It's everywhere. I was in Abuja last year, and I can tell you that I know a number of doctors. In fact, I remember operating with a doctor, and then when we called him, the man said, I'm at the airport, I'm flying out this night. And I was like, you didn't even tell me. I'm telling you. So that's how bad it is. So in Abuja, I lost count of how many doctors that left.
So what is the Edo State government doing?
That left National Hospital and left other government hospitals. So let's not make it look as if it's only Edo State.
Yeah, so
but I've told you the basic problem is the economy. When what you are earning seem not to be able to cater for you, and you just have to find somewhere that what you are earning should be able to cater for you. In the past, in this country, if you are earning 800,000 naira, you look like a big man. At least you can live some comfortable life. Now 800,000 doesn't it looks like someone that is earning 100,000.
I agree with you, Honorable Commissioner.
So that's the problem we have. So if a doctor earns 800,000 up to 1.2 million in a month, and he's still finding it difficult to pay his children's school fees, to even have a house of his own, and to feed properly. If he sees somewhere else outside that space, he will leave. If he's going to earn maybe $4,000 or $5,000.
So you mean the state government cannot do anything to arrest them back home?
No, we are doing much.
So what is the state government doing?
No, we are doing more. We are engaging a lot of these professionals. We are improving their training, and we are also improving the working space there. You can see the state government right now. We are rebuilding the Stella Obasanjo Hospital. So we want to provide a good working environment. We are also making sure that those who are in training, they are well taken care of. That's what we are doing.
What about the remuneration that they are living for, which is basic now? Are there plans?
You see, okay, $4,000 For someone who is leaving Nigeria to another country where he's going to earn $4,000.
That's the minimum.
Yeah,
That's the
let's just even
the
say,
benchmark
let's even
now.
say $3,000.
Okay.
Now, if a doctor is going to earn $3,000 outside the shores of Nigeria, and you say you want to pay that doctor equivalent of $3,000, that's like 3.2 million now.
Monthly.
Even the federal government cannot afford that.
Okay.
So unless you want to just bankrupt the state, you cannot bankrupt the state for that. What's the state? You have to look at what is the state revenue, what's the income for the state.
So is a tight situation for the state government?
Yes. So we are trying to make use, we are trying to, and you see, and that's what the governor is doing, trying to stimulate those state economy. He's trying to grow the economy of the state to that point where probably we don't, whether the fact comes in or not, the state will be okay. We'll be able to pay. The governor is always concerned about wages, about the what people earn, and he's always, most times he said, I wish I can double the salary what people earn. He's always saying it. But what has he done? He has put in a lot of machineries, a lot of things on ground to make sure that the state is able to generate enough revenues to meet its need and to pay its workers, not just doctors, its workers, a living wage.
Okay. All right, so we want to say a very big thank you to Honorable Commissioner for Health in Edo State, Dr. Samuel Ali. Looking at the universal health insurance, universal health initiative coverage now that the federal government has put together. It was a launch yesterday, continue from all the talks of the health insurance scheme in the country. And of course, we also cascaded it down to what the state governments are doing. Like in Edo State, there's also a health insurance scheme in the state. So we want to say very big kudos to the state governor for also trying to spread the health coverage in Edo State so that people can actually benefit from it. So thank you, Honorable, for coming on the program today. All right, so the program is still this morning on ITV. So we'll take a short pause now as we join Emmanuel Ogbidi. Yes, Emmanuel Ogbidi, former National PDP Vice Chairman, South, who's going to be joining us via Zoom from Warri. We're going to be looking at the political crisis in Rivers State. Stay tuned.